Yo, what's up guys? Bill here, Classic Rock and Metal Review. Time for another installment of a segment that I just started up last month. This one, love you long time? Well, let's find out. This band, Oz, not Ozzy, Oz from Finland. This is a band that I was into back in the 80s. This album particularly, really. Fire in the Brain from 1983. Didn't hear it myself till 1984. And then, of course, like a lot of my old classic metal, just went by the wayside and picked it back up a year or so ago. Let's go back and explore this album and see if it lives up to what I remember being a really solid metal album. So pull yourself up a seat here in the talent room. I'm going with Whiskey Sour today. A little chilly and damp out there, a little windy too. So, you know, warm yourself up somehow. All right, guys, if you can like and subscribe before we get started, that would be great. All right, so let's do a little band history first. As you can see, not everything I listened to was Judas Priest and Ozzy, right? A band called Oz. Well, I'll tell you how I got into them. We'll do a little brief history on the band, like I said, though, first. Formed in 77, like I said, in Finland. They moved themselves to Stockholm, Sweden in 83. I don't know, just bigger scene, who knows. But they did actually put out the debut album in 82. Fire in the Brain came along next in 83. Seems to be, from what I could tell, their biggest album. Did end up putting out a couple more albums. Another one in 84, another one in 86, and then 91 before they disbanded. Reformed in 2010, though, and they are still active. I think there's only one original member, though, the drummer. Fire in the Brain, probably their most successful album, like I said. So, I'll just tell you how I got into this. Like, I'm sure a lot of you guys used to do. Listen to Metal Shop. I'm sure you remember, but if you don't, Metal Shop was basically an all-heavy metal show. Locally, for me in Philadelphia, it came on 94 WYSP. There was two rock stations in Philly, which MMR is still there, 93.3 MMR. They started in 68. They would play your basic heavy metal here and there. They were mostly a rock channel. YSP, pretty much the same stuff, but at least at midnight on Saturdays, YSP would play an hour and a half of heavy metal. Started at midnight, went till 1:30 in the morning. I think Ed Shockey was the DJ for a good amount of that time. I probably started listening to that around 82 and till 85, 86. And, I couldn't really, I didn't always make it till midnight, And next door to me in 79, my best friend moved in. We hit it off from day one. So that was a couple years prior, obviously, but we got into music together. And each of us, sometimes we would both end up taping Metal Shop, but we would each try to tape it, because if one guy didn't last till midnight, the other one we would listen to that thing all week. It was like having a mixtape of metal. You didn't have to buy it, obviously, you just needed a blank tape. And that's what happened with how we heard Oz. Now, I can't remember if it was Rick or me that taped that episode, but nevertheless, one of us played it for the other, and we were both just blown away by the song Searchlights. The second song in on this, first song in on this album. Really killer song. Starts out with this weird sound effect, like, is it a voice? What the hell is that noise? It sounds like a monster growling. I don't know, but when you're 14, it kicks your ass, and it's awesome. And then, of course, just kick the door down, smash your face song in Searchlights. The music just barrels, right in. We loved it right away. We played that, I feel like we rewinded and played that song 6 or 8 times. And I think within a week, Rick beat me to the punch and bought the vinyl album, Fire in the Brain. That's right. Hold up. I remember standing in his basement and listening to that entire album all the way through, and just, a little bit of jaw on the floor, and just loved it. So that's what, I remember about Fire in the Brain. Super solid. Now, I don't even know if I ever owned it myself. Taping albums off people was a completely legitimate way to go. I guess like burning CDs is now, but Back then it was, when you're 14, you have like no income basically. It just saves you from having to buy something. So I taped it off Rick, and I feel like I only heard it one more time, maybe twice. Not nearly as much as it deserved to be played. And then, like I said, long gone. So, and you got to remember, like, for a band to rise to, worthy status in, like, late 84, when I think this was. I mean, this is when Motorhead No Remorse was coming out, Killed by Death and all that. Ride the Lightning had just come out. There was some stiff competition among, like, metal. I mean, do I even have to tell you guys that 84 was, like, probably the height of heavy metal? And that's when we heard this, even though this was an 83 album. So it stood out even among all those elite bands, at least to me and Rick. So anyway, let's just get to it, running down the CD itself. So I got it about a year ago, put it on, and I have to tell you, I pretty much got the same vibes as I did the first time listening to it with Rick. So it starts out with Searchlights. So I already told you how awesome that is. Barn burner of a song. Killer song. And it's really the only song I remembered from years ago. But so now I listened to it a couple times the last few weeks. And once because I wanted to do this show. And another time, and I think maybe even twice the last few weeks. So for a total of 3 times the past few weeks. Just because I wanted to. The next song, Fortune, is probably my favorite song. Great classic hooks, sort of working off the open G chord thing, a la Purple, but it's super metal, sort of like Saxon. Searchlights I really don't have a descriptor for. It's just a great friggin' song. It doesn't really sound necessarily like anyone else. Fortune, maybe sort of Saxony. Megalomaniac. This one's maybe sort of reminds me a little bit of Kiss. Forgetting what song it is, but it just has the note pattern thing going. God damn, I can't remember the name of that Kiss song, but it kind of sounds, it's heavier than Kiss, but Kiss-like. Black Candles, another great one. Super solid metal here. This one just, I don't know if it necessarily sounds like anyone in particular. It's kind of like it just pulls bits and pieces from all your favorite metal bands. Nothing on here is too fast, like fast and heavy like Slayer, but everything's a little bit heavier than like Priest and Saxon and Kiss. Gambler's great. Just a solid number. I wouldn't say great, but really good. Stop Believin'. I really love this one. This is probably in my top 3 on this album. A lot of little note pattern runs during the verse, and then a different note pattern thing during the chorus. Really cool. I'm trying to think who that's, maybe like kind of like Metal Church. Great one. And then it finishes up strong. Free Me, Leave Me, and then the title track, Fire in the Brain. I think those 2 songs are really like pretty good. Not amazing, but really good. I think you have 3 songs on this album that are strong, good, not mind-blowing. But you have 5 songs on here that are just great. The whole album is only 27.5 minutes. So do I even need to tell you? To the point, in your face, heavy metal. All right, this is an album you need to grab. I'm going to tell you, when I got this about a year ago, there was this version on eBay used for $15, and someone else selling a new one for like $55. So needless to say, I couldn't buy it now fast enough on this guy for the $15 version, which of course plays fine. The label on this is kind of jokerish, Black Mark Recordings, but apparently this is how this came out. I think the $55 version I saw was the same exact version. I don't know if it's been updated and put on an actual quality label. I think Black Mark might be almost Black Market, but that's what's out there. It is a little cheap in that, like, you hear like the first second of the next song before the track listing like switches over. So kind of cheesy like that, and the sound quality is not awesome. But I mean, this is how I think you get this album. So not sure what else to tell you about that. I even went over to Discogs, and the prices are up in the $40 to $50 range to start. And the prices I told you from eBay were from a year or 2 ago when I got this. Looking on eBay now, there's no copies on eBay on CD. Can get it on vinyl though, so you're gonna have to spend, I think, at least $30 or $40 to get it on vinyl. Anyway, man, of course there's always YouTube. Cheers to YouTube. Go on there and listen to it for freaking free. But take 27 minutes of your time and invest it in Oz, Fire in the Brain. Love you long time. Love you real long time. Love this album, and like I said, I've played it like 3 times in the last couple of weeks. All right, that'll do it for this episode, guys. Love you long time. Check out some Finnish / Scandinavian / Swedish heavy metal. A little heavier than your like run-of-the-mill Saxon and Judas Priest style stuff. Not too much though. I think you'll dig it. Probably not as heavy as Metallica, but somewhere in between there. All right, guys, that'll do it for now. If you can like and subscribe, let's keep the metal talk, the bootleg talk flowing. All right, guys, catch you later. Cheers.